I told you, I don't want it.
Saying this, my husband mercilessly the beautifully decorated cake into. Seeing the messed up cake, my son's son cry and let out his voice. Today is my son's birthday. It was a cake that my son himself hand imagining, the look of joy on husband's face as he praised it.
Why? Why would you do that?
My husband glares at me when I suddenly raised my voice.
Who would enjoy such a mucky looking? The cost of the ingredients is quite expensive. You could have bought a better one store. Don't you dare teach your son this pastry-making nonsense. I've got to go. I'm busy at work. Clean the sink.
With that, my husband put on his coat left. I know everything. Today was my last bet. I thought you would change what you are doing to make our son smile.
I'm sorry.
I hug my son, and I swear that I will never let that lousy man call himself my father again. Determined, I grabbed my phone to call someone. I, Rachel, am a stay-at-home mom. I live in an apartment with my husband Tyler, who is a salesman, and our son Ashton. I met my husband Tyler at a company, and although I am an indoor person, he is an outdoor person. We got married quite quickly. Then my son Ashton was born, and he to a certain extent, and I went back. I thought my days were going well. If I had to complain, it would be that I haven't been able to spend enough time with Tyler recently. I wish Tyler would pay a little more attention to family matters since working at the same time. When I think about Ashley looking sad, I think about Tyler as a father. As a male parent, I think he can tee about things that he wouldn't with. I have more time on my hands when I do housework, and I think it's only fair that I take care of the household generally. I don't have any romantic feelings anymore, and he has become a friend, raising Ashton as a family member. That's about how I feel now. At first glance, my days seem to be, but Ashton's birthday is coming soon. Fortunately, this year's birthday falls Sunday, and I want to celebrate it way. My parents, who are usually too far away to see me, will be sending me a present for Ashton's birthday. They are going to send me a present telling me what it is. I haven't heard what it is, so I will wait until the day of the party to see. I'm worried about Tyler because he sometimes goes out for work on St. Patrick's Day, but not this year. I made sure that he would keep his open for his son's birthday, which once a year. I was a little worried that he seemed to be giving me an empty reply, but I thought it would be all right to tell him in advance. As his birthday approached, Tyler Wade spent more and more of his days off at the ballpark. I thought he was desperately trying his schedule, so I started making on at him early in the morning. I would also make him a meal that quickly be warmed up for his late return. But then I was told something unbelievable. A former colleague of mine told me that Tyler was walking arm in arm with a woman. A woman was found dead near her current workplace.
Maybe he was just playing around.
After a short pause, I saw them enter a hotel. It was daytime. I was surprised to see them walking arm, but in reality, I had already the decisive moment. At first, I didn't believe it was possible after seeing such a picture, but now I have lost all my faith. I decided to sneak a peek at Tyler's phone. What I found there were numerous messages that clearly indicated that he was on me. They exchanged naked photos and gray texts, as if he thought I would not. Tyler was apparently cheating on me. He said he had to work on his days off. Moreover, the text messages even suggested that the other party was married. It was further revealed that the pair had been involved in an extramarital affair with a former colleague who is now a full-time housewife. Tom's surprise, the husband was a partner in Tyler's company. At first, I was angry and thought Absi was questioning Tyler. But then I realized that it might know well. Desperately calm and careful in my preparations, I sought advice from family at home and other trusted sources within the company. If the truth be told, I wanted to confront them with the divorce papers. But there was a reason why I couldn't take the plunge right away. Ashton's birthday was coming up. Ashton had been looking forward to time with his father for the first long time. Until Ashley's birthday passed, I pretended I didn't know. I knew I would have to wait to talk about it, but Elle started preparing for worst-case scenarios. The Saturday before his birthday, as I baked a cake together. Yes, it may seem a little strange but Ashton's hobby is baking. He had heard that a friend of his was making cakes, and he wanted to try them himself. This year, I helped him make his own cake, which was supposed to be a V6 thing to do.
I want to make cakes for Mom Esper.
My son, who says such things, may be unusual, but he is a good boy who cares for others. He has grown up to be a really kind person, even though I don't remember trying to educate him. But then something happens to ruin.
I suddenly have to go on a business tomorrow.
When Tyler came home, he said that I was surprised and Ashton was about.
Oh no, you've been saying that for a while now, Couldn't you have asked someone to help you or taken over for you?
I don't have a choice. It's a comparison. Unlike you, I have a job with a paycheck.
A partner, huh? I thought angrily. Please, desperately for Ashton's sake.
Your son made this cake himself, so could try it today.
I couldn't help but raise my voice. He gave me a snide look.
That's not such a big deal. You can buy a cake at the store.
And what about dinner? He asked. By this time, Thad come to expect little from Tyler. But I guess I still had feelings for the person I had been living with.
At least eat this cake for now, and then we'll have dinner.
I guess my words sounded like I was being sarcastic.
That's enough. I'm going out to eat.
He said, and just as he was about to leave, he dumped Ashton's cake into the sink.
You should stop making pastries like that too.
He said such a cruel thing to our. Then he left the apartment. Ashton retreated to his room in shock. I, too, had been standing in the kit front of the cake remnants with my completely blank. I didn't think that he would treat badly so suddenly, let alone me. Ashton's baking may indeed be an hobby for a boy, but it was impossible for a parent it. How on earth he could do that, I had no idea. Even if the relationship with his mother was that important, the bond between a child and their father should be different. I realized that about 2 hours had passed and Tyler had not returned yet. I wondered if this might be it, but I had no choice but to make up my mind. I guessed that tomorrow's business be another date with his mistress. I sometimes wondered if it was the company's convenience that made him go on a business trip so suddenly. Then I got angry on behalf of my son and began to contact my parents and other relatives who could help me. I could no longer suppress my anger much for my own sake, but for the sake of my son. I was going to give it a little long if my husband would change his ways. I know I sounded like an idiot, but there might be some family love left. We had talked about this beforehand, and things went smoothly from there. I was surprised at the sudden turn, but by the evening of the next day, I left the house with Ashton that arrived from my parents' house. I felt sorry for Ashton, who had the birthday ever, and also Tyler's anger became the driving for my actions. The destination was not my parents', but a hastily decided evacuation set before. From this point forward, my story is a mixture of what I heard through others. 2 days later, Tyler returned from business trip and was surprised to apartment in ruins. On the table were the divorce papers of the furniture and appliances. Tyler had originally paid the rent on the apartment, and most of the other living expenses were shared by me. More of the household goods were also by me. I moved all of this out in one day, only possible because of the help from a collaborator who will come up later. Anyway, Tyler tried to contact me. In fact, he did contact me, but I ignored him at this point. So then he contacted my parents. Of course, I had already explained to my parents and discussed with them the situation. My parents, especially my father, were quite angry about this whole thing. He told me that he no longer needed to hurt his grandson, who was so innocent that no one should be able to lay a finger on him. I heard that Tyler was so angry that he said something about storming into his parents' house. But the truth is that neither Ashton nor I have returned to my parents' home. I already knew all the facts about the case from the report by the private investigator. I was indeed very disappointed. The advice about the procedure was my collaborator. To be honest, it was actually my old apartment that was located near my previous job. She is my father's sister, and although single, she works a full-time job. In fact, she is now an executive at company as mine and Tyler's. I started working for my current company because of my admiration for my aunt. When I was a child, I felt like she was an older sister. She would sometimes tell me dark jokes like, "When I die, please take care of my funeral." She also took care of Ashton as if grandchild. Ashton himself had misunderstood when he was a child. After Ashton and I left the apartment, we took refuge at my aunt's apartment. It was a similar apartment to ours, Aunt's case. It was a large place people lived. So we celebrated Ashton's birthday there. Tom's surprise, a friend of my aunt's pastry chef, made the cake directly in her kitchen. Ashton stared at it in amazement, a little relieved that the memory of his birthday had somehow been overwritten. I was a little relieved. The household goods that had been removed from the apartment were also brought here for us to take our time finding a new home. But anything else you need help with? My aunt even told me that I should. As expected, considering Ashley's other things, we decided to move into a new place for the two of us to live. However, on that last weekend, Ashley stayed at a luxury hotel with a water view to make some memories. Now, let me tell you what happened after that. He was insisting on divorcing me, but had already filed a claim for alimony from an adulterous partner as well. I had also sent a content-certified investigation to the husband of the adulterous partner. Tyler didn't know about this yet, so we decided to meet at a cafe to talk. My aunt came with me, and Tyler was uncomfortable.
Hey, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. We're a couple, right?
Even if he says such a thing now, who ruined such a bond first? The affection between a man and a WC, long gone. Still, if we had respected each other, we could have at least stayed together as Ashton's parents.
Honey, do you know what I'm really about?
Was a demon. We were both tired from work, and able to take as much time as she wanted.
I don't understand at all. I can't forgive him if he tried to now. Throwing away Ashley's cake and telling her to quit baking will never leave. Still, it was my aunt, not me, who him with the final verdict. After all, this one was easy enough out by checking with. The company on Tyler told me that he was going on trip. With my aunt's help, it was a piece of cake. So it was easy to go back and check private investigator. It was also clear that all the past trips were lies. When my aunt explained this to him, he really seemed to be in despair. But the real despair may come when the husband of the adulterous partner is forced to pay alimony. My aunt said, maybe we should get to help us with the rest of this. Tyler nodded and we left. As I feared, things did not improve quickly. The husband of the adulterer was a client of one of the company's major clients. Tyler was transferred from the head sales department, which is one of the most prestigious departments in the company and the country. Perhaps my aunt had something to do. My aunt laughed and said, "An employee has an affair is usually not given important post if the AR department about it." Tyler was sent to the Montana branch because they thought it would be hard on him, but his ex-husband was also assigned to the same work. This one may have really been my aunt's doing. Because of his age, it would be difficult for him to change jobs and support himself. I hope he will be able to work until retirement. However, my aunt has also strictly not to rely on Tyler's child support payments. I became my aunt's secretary in the early 80s, and the nature of my job changed. My salary went up, and I became much more than before. However, Ski allowed me to work from home, which meant that I could spend more time with Ashton than ever before. Ashton has seen how busy I am and has been very supportive of my career. He soon overtook me, especially where cooking was concerned, which I guess is an extension of his baking skills.
I know you're busy, Mom, so I will do help however I can.
I think my son has really grown up well enough to be able to say such things naturally. Ashton's current dream is to pursue in pastry making, just like the past who used to make cakes for his birthday. He has decided to go to a vocational school after graduating from high school, though it will be a tough road. Whenever my aunt came to visit, she would make her own sweets and serve them to us. He and my aunt had always been good, but after the divorce, they stayed each other's house. They have become like siblings whose significant age gap. Even now, I think my greatest feat rely on my aunt. I didn't know how to act on my own time, and even now, I'm not sure if I tolerated Tyler's actions. I might not have been able to heal emotional trauma. My aunt joked that when she dies, her eulogy will be read by her dog. Of course I would do that, but I didn't want to repay her for her kindness. We talked about that for a bit, but Aunt said in response was, "I want you to help someone else. Jay helped you." One, I do think I will ever be able to live up to my aunt's words, but I will always strive to be like her